Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Trying something different. See if it sticks, if it's something people would enjoy seeing, or whether it's something maybe people wouldn't enjoy seeing. But we're going to try something a little bit different. The craze the last, I'd say maybe month or so, maybe 3 weeks, whatever, in the YouTube community is AI. Everybody seems to be fascinated with AI, from thumbnails to storylines to whatever. Uh, that it seems to be the thing that people were gravitating to. I tried it a little bit, just discovered it wasn't for me. So we're going to do the exact opposite of this newfangled AI stuff. We are going analog city right here. And so what I am thinking about doing, depending on how well it's received, is go back to play basic Strat-O-Matic in the most analog form every Sunday. And so that's why I'm calling it, for those of you who are Bono or U2 fans, basic Sunday, basic Sunday, based on their song Sunday Bloody Sunday. So this is the maiden voyage in that. If it's not received very well, I'm pretty sure I will just can it. But it's something I thought about doing just to try and see how it does. I took the overhead light off. I think there was too much glare there. So what I decided, and if I'm going to do this, I want to do an older season where I'm not, so hipped up in lefty righty splits and all that stuff. So I'm taking the 1962 season, um, opening day game, Detroit Tigers, Washington Senators. Of course, back in the day, it was tradition to play the first game in both Cincinnati and in Washington. But I've done so many Cincinnati games, so I figured let's go off and do the Washington game. I don't mind doing American League now because there's no DH, so we're very happy about that. And don't need, for today's game, I don't need stuff like this because we're not doing super advanced, we're doing basic. I do have the rule book in front of me just to make sure I don't overstep my bounds. But basically, these two pages, page 2 and 3, are all you really need in the basic rule book. And I will look that up just to make sure I'm not, by habit, bringing in something from the advanced or super advanced game into basic that I shouldn't be bringing. All right, there's our score sheet with the basic ratings. We have our basic dice with the dots on them, not the numbers, smaller versions. I do have the D20. I'll only roll the D20 when it's necessary. There are no havoc rolls. Basically, in the basic set, the 20-sided die is going to be needed for defensive checks, for splits on the cards, also for stolen base chances, and for running advancement chances when you want to take a chance on an extra base. I think those are about the only things we need the D20 for on the basic side. So, given that, I am going to go ahead and get going with this. I thought about not using the dice tray as well and rolling by hand, and I still may decide to do that. I'm debating as I go. This is a maiden voyage to try something like this. So I'm thinking about doing, not doing the dice tray. So let's try this. Let's see if I use the dice tray instead as a backstop for my dice rolls. And that'll perhaps make it where I can get closer to the cards. So let's put the dice tray here, kind of out of sight actually, but enough to be a backstop on my dice rolls. So how about that? That'll present the whole score sheet. And with this, I think I should be able to get a little bit closer. Let me go up a little bit higher here. I think, whoops, don't want to get too high up there. I think that might be the sweet spot right there, but I think I can get a little bit closer. Maybe a tiny bit. Bring it down just a hair. So, okay, so I'm going to try this. We're going to try this setup. And like I said, by using this, when I roll the dice, I've got a backstop, and hopefully that'll, keep the things on the pad and not go, the dice won't go flying all over the place. Made voyage, as I say, so we'll see what happens. Don Mossy and Benny Daniels. So Benny Daniels will be the starting pitcher for the Washington Senators. I'm going to try not to call them Nationals. This game was played April 9th, 1962. And leadoff man for the Tigers is going to be Jake Wood. So what I'm going to try to do is put these cards down here. That way I've got room up here for the dice rolls and I'm not rolling on top of the cards. Hopefully that's the case. Like I said, it's a work in progress, so we're going to give it a shot, see how it works out. I have no idea how it's going to work out. I don't know if I can get a little bit close, one more notch closer or not. I think I can. So we're going to try it just like this, see what happens. First at bat is Jake Wood and Benny Daniels. Not worried about lefty-righty splits at all. Benny Daniels was 7-16 with a 4.85 ERA in the real season. Jake Wood, a 226 hitter with an on base of 291. So not your prototypical leadoff hitter, but that's the way that Tiger manager Bob Sheffing did back in 1962. Mickey Vernon managing the Senators. So here we go. We get a 6-7. Daniels on a 6-7 is a strikeout. So right off the bat, the Senators are liking this as they get a 6-7 strikeout. Clear as day right there. 6-7 strikeout, one away. And that's going to bring up Bill Bruton. I believe he was with the Milwaukee Braves back in their heyday in the mid-50s, but now he's with the Tigers. Center fielder. We get a 3-10, and that's going to be a solid single for Bill Bruton. Now, if you want to try to steal with Bruton, of course, I've got the charts. I've got the basic strategy chart, and I've got the the basic fielding chart. So on the basic strategy chart, Bruton is a B, which starts him as a 1 to 13. But then we need to go to the catcher defense chart and find out what kind of variation that becomes of that. The catcher is Schmidt for the Senators. He's a 3. So we come over here, a 3-rated catcher is a -2. So -2 to the 13 that's already here. So he'd be a 1 to 11 if he wants to steal. Might as well try it at 55%. Why not? 1 to 11, he's in there. And he's in there. Bill Bruton steals the base. Billy Bruton steals second base. So he's at second base with 1 out for Al Kaline. Kaline, the right fielder, Hall of Famer. Get a 5-6, and that's going to be a base on balls. So runners at first and second with only 1 out for Rocky Colavito. Benny Daniels in trouble here in the first inning. Tigers trying to put some runs on the board. 1-9, and that's a 3-run home run for Rocky Colavito. Boy, Benny Daniels in trouble. Home run, Rocky Colavito. Tigers lead at 3-0, and the seats aren't even warm yet here at RFK Stadium, or whatever they called it back in '62, DC Stadium. I'm not sure what they actually called it. So here's Norm Cash, first baseman. 5-9 for Daniels as a fly to center. That's 2 away. 2 down, and I realize now that let me back this up here because the dice didn't show the way I wanted them to. So this was a 5-4, a 5-9. Just trying to make sure everybody knew it was a 5-9. Sometimes it didn't show there. Gets all the way up against that board, it's not going to show. So here is Steve Boros. 5-7 for Daniels. It's a double 1 to 11, single 12 to 20. And that's a 5, so that's going to be a double for Steve Boros. Tigers aren't through yet, I should say. Here comes Chico Fernandez, the shortstop. 1-6 for Fernandez. He grounds it to short. And again, things just aren't showing up here, so let's bring this down a bit. 1-6. There we go. That's better. 1-6 is a ground ball to short. So it's a work in progress. I'm working on what I think is the best way to make sure everything is showing up, but that's hopefully close enough you can read the cards. That's the other part. All right, here's Don Mossy. He's a left-hander, but again, in the basic game, that's not really that big of a deal. And Jimmy Pearsall. That's no deal at all, actually. All right, but I will manage the game as if it did matter. So, I'll do bullpen matchups based on that. Here's Jimmy Pearsall. 4-5, and that's going to be a ground ball shortstop X. We got our first X chance of the game. Shortstop in this case is Chico Fernandez. He is a 3. So we're going to look here in column number 3, roll the D20 and see what happens. We get a 19, and that says roll 20-sided die again. We get a 17. 17 says out with no runners on base 4. So with nobody on base, it doesn't matter. It's just an out. So it is a 6-3 ground out, and Pearsall is out of there. Brings up Danny O'Connell, third baseman. Get a 4-10 on Mossy, and that is a fly ball center field X. We're going right back to the X chart, this time for center fielder, and that is Bruton. He's a 2. So we're in this column here for number 2. That's a 7, and that's an out 5, but with the bases empty, once again, doesn't matter. It would have been a sacrifice fly had somebody been on third, but obviously that's not the case. So we go to Chuck Hinton in right field. 2 out spaces cleared. Mossy getting the first 2 out. That's a 3-7, and that's going to be a fly ball to left. So Mossy makes short work of the Washington Senators as they are out of here, 3 up, 3 down. We now go to the top of the second, and leading things off for the Tigers will be Mike Rourke, the catcher, followed by Mossy, the pitcher. Mossy is using batting card number 2. Here's Rourke, 6'4", and that's going to be a pop out to first base. Dale Long is there, 1 away. And now we have the pitcher, Don Mossy, using pitcher hitting card number 2. Stepping to the plate on this Sunday, Basic Sunday. Strat-O-Matic. 1-7, he strikes out. That is the second strikeout. He started the game with a strikeout as Jake Wood struck out. So Daniels trying to recover from that rough first inning, the 3-run home run from Colavito. The pitch to Wood, 2-4, and that's a ground ball to short. And 3 up, 3 down. Much better inning this time for Benny Daniels. And Mossy back out will face Dale Long, Willie Tasby, and Bob Johnson. And I know very few of these players. Dale Long would eventually get traded to the Yankees. A lot of these opening guys for the Senators get traded because Willie Tasby gets traded to Cleveland. So quite a few of these guys will be different teams later in the season. 5-12, and that's a line out to first base. Norm Cash there to snag it. 1 away, and here's Willie Tasby. 6-10, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. So we're looking at Fernandez. And again, he is a 3 at shortstop. 3 and a 16. 3 and a 16 is an out. So good play there. Nobody's on base. You don't have to worry about the kind of out or whether it was a double play chance or whatever. It's just 2 outs. And that brings us to the shortstop, Bob Johnson. 2-7 for Johnson. That's a solid single. First hit of the game for the Senators. Johnson, I just out of habit, I look to the I look to this side just out of habit just to check his steal chances when I really should be looking at C here. So you gotta make sure I keep myself straight. Here's Cottier. I don't have this game up trying to score on the computer or anything like that. I did use the Action PC computer to get the lineups and the bench and bullpen availability guys. That's the only thing I used for that. Here's Cottier, 3-4, and that's a walk. So the inning continues. First walk for Mossy. That'll bring up the number 8 hitter, catcher Bob Schmidt. 5-5, and that is a fly to right field. Calavito is the, K-line is there, and that will end the inning. So nothing doing for the Senators. We go to the top of the third. It'll be Bruton, K-line, and Calavito. 3-0 Tigers here in the top of the third. 3-6, and that's going to be a 1-8 double. 9-20 will be a single. That's a 9, so base hit for Bill Bruton. He stole the base the first time, so why not try it again? Might as well. And we've already seen that he's a 1-11 based on the 13 on the chart plus the -2 from the catcher. So it's a 1-11 to steal it. And he's in there again, possible throwing error. I believe the basic still incorporates that. But I will double check it just to make sure. Does it say that on here, though? Thought it did. I don't think that's just an advanced thing. I'm looking in the rule books, and I don't see it. Interesting. Maybe that's only for the for the advanced and the super advanced, but I was pretty sure that a roll like that would cause all right, 1, 2, or 3, roll 20 sided out again, but that's in the advanced. I don't see that in the basic. So there's nothing I can see here in the stealing that talks about a catcher throwing error. So we're just going to call him safe, and I don't, like I said, I don't see anything here that talks about that 1, 2, or 3 being a possible throwing error on the catcher. Again, appears to be an advanced and super advanced option. So again, I don't want to bring in stuff from that into the basic. So it is a stolen base for Bruton. His second stolen base of the game. Leads off with a single and a steal, and here's Al K-line. And if I was supposed to charge or check for an error, please let me know, but I don't believe I was supposed to. Because in the basic, when you write down the defense, nobody's writing down his T rating. So here's K-line, 5-2, and that's a fly to right. One away. And that'll bring up Calavito. Calavito had the 3-run homer his first time up. 4-10. This one's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at the shortstop Johnson. He is a 4. So that's a little bit iffy with a 4. And that's a 1. It's a single 2. So it's a single 2 stars is what we end up with that. So that's going to score Bruton. And the Tigers lead it 4-0. It's Calavito with his 4th run batted in. Snuck it by Bob Johnson. Would have had to have been a 1 to make that play. So, all right, here's Norm Cash, 6-8, and that's a triple 1-6, single 7-20. That's a triple for Norm Cash, RBI triple for Cash, and that's 5-0 Tigers. And Benny Daniels may not be. He's scheduled to lead off the inning next in the bottom of the third, so they'd like to get him through the inning. Infield will play in for the Senators with 1 out and a runner at third. Boros, 5-6. That's a walk. Daniels not helping the cause any. Now here's Chico Fernandez. Now they're going to play back for the double play. Chico Fernandez might be a candidate for. He's got some ground ball A's on his card. 6-6, though, is another walk from Benny Daniels. That's not going to help the cause. That's going to load the bases. Bases are loaded with 1 out, and the number 8 hitter, Michael Rourke, the batter, still playing for that double play, but Daniels has to throw strikes. 5-6, and he walks another 3 walks in a row by Daniels. Unbelievable. Walks in a run. It's now 6-0 Tigers. Still only 1 out, and the pitcher coming up, Don Mossy. Still playing for that double play. 5-11. That's a fly ball right field X. We're looking at Hinton. He's a 3 in the outfield. Outfield and a 3. And that's a 7. 3 and a 7 is an out 1. Out 1 says advance 1 base. What I'm seeing here, out 1 says advance 1 base. That's weird. Out 1 in basic. And coming down here, 1 says advance 1 base. I guess that's like a fly ball A. I guess that's equivalent to the fly ball A. So it's going to end up being a sacrifice fly. And not only is the runner on third going to score, but the other 2 runners will move up. Sacrifice, and I hope I'm doing that right. If I'm not, if I'm misinterpreting that, please let me know. It is 7-0, 2 outs now, and the 9th man to bat in the order, or in the inning rather, is Jake Wood. 4 runs are in, bases are still, or runners at second and third rather, 2 outs, and Jake Wood. 5-4. It's ground ball third base X. We are looking at O'Connell. He's a 3. O'Connell is a 3. We're looking at in this position here. That's a 10. 3 and a 10 is an out 3. It's the third out of the inning, so it doesn't matter about out 3. It would have been a ground ball A, but that's irrelevant. So a 4-score inning for the Tigers, and they chase Benny Daniels after 3 innings. Daniels will not, he uses pitch hitting card number 6, but he's not going to get a chance to use that. He is going to be out of here, and they will have to go to a pinch hitter and to somebody in the bullpen. So we cap Daniels at 3 innings. He's going to give up 7 runs. All of them are earned. Lots of walks. He walked 3 in a row here for a total of 4 for the game. Struck out 2. And he gave up how many hits? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's like 6 hits. So not a very pretty outing there for Mr. Daniels. So we need a pinch hitter for the Senators since Daniels was scheduled to hit leadoff this inning. But we're going to have a pinch hitter. And I'll play it lefty-righty like I would in real world if splits counted. So since Mossy is a left-hander, we'll go to a right-handed pinch hitter off the bench. Let's see who they have. They've got Johnny, however you pronounce that name, Shave, something or other. Ken Hamlin. And that's it. Most of the right, and no, I'm sorry, Harry Bright. He's the third one. So those 3 guys are available to pinch hit. They also have 5 lefties on the bench. But since the lefty starter is out there, they didn't really want to use these guys. So I think we're going to narrow it down to these 3. And let's see who they might want to go to. They are going to go to Harry Bright. Harry Bright will be the pinch hitter for Washington here in the 3rd inning. And then a new pitcher will be summoned for the Senators in the top of the 4th. Right now, Harry Bright, 5'9", strikes out. So Bright is out of there. It's not so bright on that one. Here's Pearsall. Pearsall to lead it or step back in from the leadoff spot. 1-7. He grounds it to third, and Boros is there. 2 away. So Don Mossy with a 7-0 lead. He's just relaxing and playing pitch and catch with his catcher over there, Rourke. 4-3, and that is a fly ball left field X. We're looking at Colavito. He's a 1, so not much of a chance that anything's going to happen with a 1. He's got a possibility of an error on an 18. Anything other than 18, he's going to make the play. That's a 14, so that's an out, and that will end the inning. 3 up, 3 down go the Senators. We go to the top of the 4th, and the Senators will need a new pitcher. And let's check their bullpen. They have right-handers. Right-handers. Tom Chaney, Joe McLean, Jim Hannon, Ed Hobaugh and Dave Stenhouse and Marty Kutnia. I have no idea. And Ray Ripplemeyer. All these are right-handers. Everybody in the bullpen's right-handed, so we're not worried about righty-lefty, because especially we're in basic. But even if we were, we wouldn't have a choice, because they just doesn't matter. So they will go with Dave Stenhouse out of the bullpen. He was a starter and a reliever, but he does not start for a while. So Stenhouse is available to pitch, and he's there to try to give him some innings. So Stenhouse is on, and he'll be facing Bruton, Kaline, and Colavito. Bruton, 2 for 2, 2 singles and 2 stolen bases. So see what he can do here. Get a 1-4 for Bruton. He grounds it right back to Stenhouse for out number 1. Brings up Al Kaline. I guess if I wanted to go real old school, I could have just had that old board out here. I decided not to do that once. I might do that some other point. I don't know. If this series continues, I might do that. 1-6 is a single on a 1-18 Kaline. And it will be a base hit for Kaline. So a 1-out single brings up Rocky Colavito. His 3-run homer set the tone for the game right away. 4-2, and that is a fly ball to left. Hauled in by Tasby, 2 away for Norm Cash. One 6 for Cash. He'll draw a base on balls. That'll move runners to first and second. For Steve Boros, third baseman. I believe he later became a manager. 4-6, and that's going to be a strikeout for Stenhouse to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. Tigers still in command, comfortably leading 7-0. Chuck Hinton will be the first Senator to take a swipe at Mossy. And we get a 1-2, and that's a base on balls. Second walk issued, with the score being, he's an ace stealer, but with the score being 7-0, we're not going to try any stealing. Works a -1 as a -1 as a catcher. That would bring a -4 to any steal attempt. So that 1-15 would turn to 1-11 real quick. You're down 7-0. You're not going to steal. So 1-4 for Long, and he walks. So back-to-back walks all of a sudden. Don Mossy getting a little sloppy with the strike zone. Bring up Willie Tasby. 2-7 for Tasby, struck him out. Only the second strikeout for Mossy in the game. Brings up Bob Johnson, the shortstop. 4-6, and that is a triple, 1-6, otherwise a double. That's a double for Bob Johnson. And down 7-1. Well, now 7-1. They're going to play station to station. Not taking any chances. They're on the board now. It's 7-1. Runners at second and third, and only 1 out for Cottier. Infield, of course, back for the Tigers. 5-6 is a ground ball, second base X. Second baseman. Second baseman for the Tigers is Wood. He's a 5. That's terrible. So we're in this kind. It's going to be either a hit or an error, most likely. That's an 11. So an 11 actually is out with no runners on base for. So it's going to be, if no runners are forced, runners hold. With one or more runners forced, batter is safe. Runner on first, out going to second. Others advance 1 base. So it says if no runners are forced, they hold. So nobody's forced here, so they're going to hold. So Wood is able to make the play. The wording was specific. It said if the runners are not forced, they hold. Where's Schmidt? 6-8, and that's a strikeout, and the Senators leave 2 on base. They get 1. Could have had more, but they come away empty-handed. We go to the top of the 5th. Stenhouse will start his 2nd inning of work, and he'll be facing Chico Fernandez. 5-9, and that is a home run on a 1-18. This could be gone for Chico Fernandez. And it is gone. He had 20 home runs in the real season. He cracks one here, and it's now 8-1. So the run that it took Washington so much work to get is erased on one swing of the bat by Chico Fernandez. Stenhouse is scheduled to lead off next inning, so this will be his only, 2 innings as far as he's going to go. Here's Rourke. 3-5 for Rourke is a ground ball to short. 1 away, and that brings up Mossy. Pitcher Mossy. 4-8 for Mossy is a walk, so he walks the pitcher. Cardinal sin there, obviously. And here's Jake Wood. Jake Wood. Somehow my stuff got a little bit out of line here. Jake Wood. 5-9, and that's a home run, 1-18. We're back in the same position we were before. And Jake Wood homers. It's a 2-run bomb for Jake Wood, and the score is now 10-1 Tigers. So much for a close game, huh? When you play the 62 Senators, you're probably expecting a bad game. Of course, I don't know what the real score was. It couldn't have been this bad. Here's Bruton, 6-6, and that's going to be a fly to center, 2 down. I can look it up real quick and see what the score was in that game. While Al Kaline bats. 5-8, and that's a double, 1-10. 11-20 for a single. We get a base hit for Al Kaline, his 2nd hit of the game from Mr. Kaline. Bring up Colavito. He's 2 for 3 with a home run. 2-8 for Colavito. It was a 1-8 single. Anything else, he lines it out to third. And he will line it to third to mercifully end the inning. 3 more runs for the Tigers. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. It is a 10-1 ball game. That's it for Mr. Stenhouse. He's done. He goes 2 innings to Stenhouse. He gives up 4 hits and 3 runs, all of which were earned. He walked 2 and struck out 1. And we'll need a pinch hitter once again for the Senators. So now I'm curious. I'm looking this up really quickly to see why the Senators lost 101 games real world. Opening day, actually the Senators won this one 4-1 real world. Benny Daniels pitched a complete game. Well, that ain't happening today, obviously. So nowhere near the real world mark here. So we go to the bench and we get another right-handed hitter. We just used Bright, so now they'll use Ken Hamlin. We'll use Hamlin to lead things off. He will pinch hit here in the 5th inning. Ken Hamlin facing Don Mossy. A 10-1 ball game. 5-11, that's a ground ball right back to Mossy. Easy play. Hamlin is out. Back to the top of the order is Jimmy Pearsall. Pearsall is 0 for 2. 4-6, and that's going to be, well, give a hit this time. 1-6 is a triple. 7-20 is a double. Pearsall with the 1-out double. His first hit of the game brings up Danny O'Connell. Third baseman, he is 0 for 2. 5-10, that's a pop out to second base. Jake Wood makes the play. 2 down for Chuck Hinton. 3-6 for Hinton. A 1 to 11 is a single. Anything else, he will line to third. And it's a single, but it's only a 1-star single. So stopping at third, despite there being 2 outs, is Pearsall. So runners are at the corners. 2 outs for Dale Long. 3-9 for Long. He grounds to second, and that's going to end the inning. Nothing doing for the Senators. So we go to the top of the 6th. It looks like there's going to be a double switch because the pitcher spot's getting close. So let's see. The pinch hitter was Hamlin. Hamlin can play second or short, but they're both coming up here, so we're not going to go with Hamlin. Actually, they'll pick somebody else. They will bring in, let's see, the last out was made by Long at first base. So they're going to bring in Bud Zipfel. Never heard of him, but he plays first base. So Bud Zipfel is going to play first base in the 6th inning, and he will bat 9th. So Zipfel is at first base, and the pitcher spot is going to be here in that position in place of Dale Long. So that gives the new pitcher, and coming out of the game is Dale Long. So that gives the new pitcher a little bit of room before he has to worry about hitting. And we'll put Zipfel right behind Mr. Schmidt. All right. So new pitcher for the Senators. And we'll see who they want to go to. They will go to, they're all right-handed, so like I said, it really doesn't matter at this point. We are going to go to, who else can give them some length? We're going to go to Ray Ripplemeyer. He sucks, but so did the other. I mean, when you're 10 to 1, that's who you bring in. You bring in your mop-up guys. So Ripplemeyer will be the pitcher. 1-2 with a 5.49 ERA, but he has, started some games, so you can give him some length. Plus, in basic, you're not worried about fatigue. So we're starting the top of the 6th with the score sitting at 10 to 1, 2-8, and that's a ground ball to third, 1 away. Jake Wood. I'm sorry, it shouldn't have been Jake Wood. It should have been Cash. I don't know why I had Jake Wood up there. 2-8's we're going to keep that roll because that belongs to Cash, and he struck out. Nothing wrong with the roll. I just had the guys in the wrong order. That's all. But the roll was valid. So keep the roll. It is a strikeout. Here's Boros. 3-11 for Boros. He pops it up to third. 2 quick outs for Chico Fernandez. He homered his last time up. 5-8. This time's a pop out to short. So 1-2-3 inning for Ripplemeyer. So I bring up the guy with the worst of the ERAs compared to the other 2 pitchers that started, but he pitched, so far he has pitched the best of these starters. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. It'll be Willie Tasby, Johnson, and Cottier. That's a 4-6, and that's a 1-6 triple. Anything else will be a double. That's a triple for Willie Tasby. He had no triples real world, but this is basic, so I'm not making any adjustments. Not in the basic game. Guys that never hit home runs can hit home runs. Guys that never tripled can triple. It's a free-for-all in the basic. Anything goes. 3-10, it's a pop out to short because that's the most realistic. Pop out to short, 1 away. And here is Chuck Cottier. 5-5, and that is a fly ball right field C, so it's not deep enough to score the runner. So he'll have to hold at third. He lead off triple, and he's still there. It's up to Bob Schmidt. 6-9, and he struck him out. So how about that? That's just the way it's going for the Senators. They get a leadoff triple and can't bring him home. That tells you all you need to know right there in a nutshell. So we go to the top of the 7th. Ripplemeyer back out. He'll face Rourke. Then Mossy. 5-10. It's a ground ball shortstop X. We are looking at Johnson again. He is a 4. Not a good place to be in the basic with a 4. 4-17 is a 2-base error. 2-base error on Mr. Johnson, E6. And that'll bring up Mossy. 6-5, and it's a ground ball, second base C. That will get the runner to third base. And now for the heck of it, we'll play the infield in. Not that it matters when it's 10-1, but we'll do it anyway, just for kicks and giggles. 5-6, and that's a ground ball, second base X. Second baseman is Cottier. He's a 2. 2 and a 12 is an out 3. Runner on first, out going to second, providing there is one completion of a double play. Other runners advance one base. So it's not going to be a double play. It's going to be a ground out with the runner scoring. So Wood will get an RBI ground out. And scoring is Rourke. It is now 11-1. So they played in, but the dive roll didn't cooperate. Here's Bruton. 1-4. He's going to ground it back to Ripplemeyer to end the inning. So seventh inning stretch time. It's 11-1 Detroit. Mossy back out, and he'll be facing Zipful. He'll get his first at bat of the game since coming in as a double switch move. That's a 5-10 for Zipful. Pops it up to Jake Wood. One away. He's up Jimmy Pearsall. 1-3 for Pearsall. He grounds it to Wood. 2 down. 2 up and 2 down for Danny O'Connell. 3-6 for O'Connell. It's a 2-out single. And that'll bring up Chuck Hinton. 1-7 for Hinton. Hinton, rather, is a 1-4 double. 5-20 is a single. 2 stars either way. So it'll be a single, 2 stars, but runners on the corners for for the pitcher spot. We are at Ripplemeyer's spot, so we'll need a pinch hitter for Ripplemeyer. And we'll check and see who is on their bench. I think they've exhausted all the righties except for this guy here, so we'll use him. Johnny Shabe. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Never heard of the guy. So I'm just going to make a shot in the dark and say it's Shiabe. Or Shave. No, the A is first, so I'm thinking shave. Just plain old shave like you shave your face. That's what I'm going to guess. I'm sure it's wrong. If somebody knows for sure, you can tell me. All right, so Shave, or whatever his name is Johnny. We'll just say Johnny's at the plate. Johnny on the spot. 1-5, and he grounds to short, and they leave 2 more guys on base. And that'll do it for the Senators. And now they need a new pitcher to pitch the last 2 innings. And we'll see who they want to go to. They will go to, again, they're all right-handed, so it really doesn't matter. They will go to Ed Hoball. Hoball was 2-1, 3.76 ERA. He had 2 starts and he had a save. So Hoball is your pitcher. He'll be facing Kaline, Colavito, and Cash. Boy, what a reward that is. You come into the game to pitch and you get to face those 3 guys. 2-7, and that is a triple 1-5, single 6-20. That's a triple for Al Kaline. He had 6 triples on the season. A leadoff triple, not a good start for Hoball. Looking more like a hoedown. Infield is in. Rocky Colavito, 6-7. Ground ball, second base X. We're back to Cottier again. He is a 2. And that's a 5. 2 and a 5 is an out 3. Runner on first, out going to second. Completion of double play, but the runner's going to advance. So the out has made it first, but the runner scores. RBI ground out from Colavito. Yet another RBI for Colavito. I believe that's 5 for him now. And Norm Cash, your batter, is now, I believe, 12-1. Thanks to that, here's Cash. 2-6 for Cash is a walk. Bring up Steve Boros. 2-7, and that's a single 1-12. Anything else, he lines it to third. And that's a liner right to the third baseman, Mr. O'Connell. So 2 down. For Chico Fernandez. That's a 1-4, and it's a ground ball to short, and that will end the inning. But the Tigers add another run to their total. We go to the bottom of the 8th is 11-1, our score. Due up for the Senators is Willie Tasby, followed by Johnson and Cottier. Let's see, I've got plenty of room over here, so we'll move it over a little further. 5-7, and for Mossy, that's a strikeout. That is strikeout, I believe, number 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's number 4 for Mossy. Brings up Bob Johnson. 2-8 for Johnson. That's a solid single. Johnson's actually 3 for 4 in this game. Here's Cottier. I didn't be able to put the pitcher right here. You can still see. No, you can't see him. Not that far. But you know what I could do is do this. Maybe do it like that, and then you can see him. How about that? Maybe that works better. Gives me more room on the page. Maybe that's a bonus. I don't know. 5-4, and that is going to be a fly ball to left field. 2 down for Bob Schmidt. (5-9), and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 5 for Mossy. He's going to go for the complete game. No reason he shouldn't get it. And coming out is Hoball to finish things out. I didn't do the numbers on Ripplemeyer like I should have done. He went 2 innings. Let's see what he did here. He gave up an unearned run. 1 run which was unearned. And he struck out 1. No walks, no hits, but the unearned run. So Hoball will step up and face Mike Rourke. 2-3 for Rourke. He grounds it right back to Hoball. 1 away. And the pitcher Mossy. 5-2, and that's a ground ball right back to Hoball again. 2 quick outs. And we get Jake Wood one more time. 4-9, and that's a home run on a 1. Anything else, he will double. Jake Wood with a double. 2-out double for Jake Wood. He's doubled and homered in this game. And now that will send up. I didn't even have Jake Wood's card out there. That's how bad I was on that. Didn't need it because it came off the pitcher card. Here's Bruton. 1-8 for Bruton, and he pops it up to second to end the inning. So we can close the book on Mr. Hoball. Thank goodness. Hoball with the hoe down. So let's see what Hoball did. He goes 2 innings, and he's going to give up 2 hits, a run. 2 hits and a run, which was earned. He walked 1 and didn't strike anybody out. All right, so Mossy will be facing Zipfel, and then Pearsall and O'Connell. 2-8 Zipfel. He grounds to short. 1 away. Here's Pearsall. For anybody still watching this, thank you. I think I'd have turned this off a long time ago myself, but who knows. 6-3. It's a ground ball pitcher X to Mossy. Mossy is a 5, so that's not too good, as you'd say. He's a 5. 5 and a 16. But he finds the out. There were only about 3 outs under the 5 category. A 7, an 11, and a 16, and he found the 16. So it isn't out. That's just the kind of day it's been for the Senators when you can't even catch a break like that. So 2 down, last chance, Danny O'Connell stepping to the plate. It's a long game for basic, 50 minutes. It usually doesn't take 50 minutes for that, but the Tigers scoring all those runs, that certainly factors into it. 6-3, ground ball pitcher X again. We're going right back to Mossy. But again, that 5, unless he rolls a 7, 11, or 16, it's going to be runner on base. That's a 17. That's going to be a one-base error on Mossy. The game is not over yet as Mossy commits the error. That'll put an error in the Detroit column. I believe the Senators committed just the one error as well. So here's Hinton. 5-4, and that's a fly ball to left field, and the inning and game are mercifully over. If you want to look at it a certain way. That's going to do it from here. Don Mossy, complete game victory for the Tigers. He goes 9 innings. Gives up just the 1 run, which was earned. Let's check his strikeouts. He struck out 5. He walked 2 right here in a row plus 1 there, so 3 walks. Hits allowed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits I've got him for. So an 8-hit victory there for Mossy. So for the Tigers, they come away with 12 runs. They do it on 12 hits and 1 error. Senators 1 run, 8 hits, and 1 error. Winning pitcher Don Mossy. Loser is Daniels. And there you go. Strat-O-Matic Basic on this Sunday Basic Sunday. Experimental thing to do on Sundays just to see how well it's received. And if it bombs, then I'll just drop it. Easy enough. So that's going to do it from here. I hope you're having a great Sunday wherever you are, if you're watching this on Sunday. If not, hoping a great day wherever you are. And so my dice tray was a backstop in this one. So we got to get things set up for Game of the Week, NBC Game of the Week tomorrow. I mean, Saturday, rather. But actually for Monday, we need to get it set up for the Strat-O-Matic on Monday is what I'm getting the Strat set up for. I'm recording this on a Friday. So that's why I'm referring to tomorrow being the NBC Game of the Week when actually when this is posting, the NBC Game of the Week between the Mets and the Dodgers would have already been played. So there you go. Capping it off at 53 minutes. Basic Sunday is what I guess I'm going to call it. Hopefully it won't offend Bono. And although the way the Senators played might offend Bono. So until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.